Welcome to the fourth installment of the Tim and Maggie Road Show. And I have not followed up on these. I have no idea how many people have watched them, if at all. I don't know if people think they're silly. Well, they're silly, but I don't know if... I have no idea.
I can't imagine anybody liking it.
It's a long drive and we're bored, so this is something to do. And if you want to join us, yay! So following up from our last video, we thought we might talk about modes this time. So, it's more your show than my show, really.
And it's more fun than counting out-of-state license plates.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's more, and it's my phone. I still would like to know how to get rid of the road noise. So if anyone knows how to get rid of the road noise while you're driving, let me know.
We could park somewhere and do this, but that would kind of defeat the purpose.
It would defeat the purpose, yeah.
Although we'd probably see more out-of-state license plates that way.
We might. That would be true. Yes. So, modes. I'm thinking of different ways to approach this. We could use the circle of fifths again. We could talk. I'm thinking, let's start out with white keys on the piano. You want to do that?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do it that way.
Because that comes very close to the original concept.
Okay.
Which is medieval Western, and it has a lot more longevity in terms of folk music than it does its original description.
Okay.
As part of church and chant worship tunes. Mm-hmm. The word mode is probably best described as mood.
Oh, that makes sense, actually.
Well, I'm not sure that has historical basis, because the Latin is modus, which is a method.
Well, when they changed modes before equal temperament, it did indeed change mood. So.
Right, and that's what they thought. I doubt very much, and most musicologists that actually know something doubt that there was any kind of standard for pitch.
Oh, right, yeah.
That C was actually a thing.
Right.
It was the relationship of the notes between C and C that made something C. You could start on any random pitch. Mm-hmm. Although I don't doubt that there were early musicians that had absolute pitch.
Actually, I've heard stories of early musicians that had absolute pitch where one would go from one region to another, and the standard in their region was different than the standard in another. So you'd have two people with absolute pitch, but one's G might be another's A flat, and it was a problem.
Plus, there's all kinds of pitch memory modes, to use the wrong term, that people can have.
Wrong kind of mode. Yeah. So.
If you get somebody to tell you, "Oh, that hurts my brain," that's not really a C. They're probably pulling your leg. Most of the people most people I know that actually have a really advanced set of pitch memories or pitch identification see it like colors. You don't look at something that's pink and say, "Oh, I'm offended. That's not really red."
Yeah. There's different shades of red, different shades of green, different shades of blue, different shades of C, different shades of A, different shades of G.
And I don't know any musician that wouldn't love to have that kind of pitch identification skill. And as far as we know, it seems to be developed very early in life. Age, it's a developmental thing, age 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah. So back to modes.
Well, that's part of the issue. We're not talking about actual pitch locations on a keyboard, but we're going to use the keyboard because that's familiar to all of us to see. Now, the way a mode,
and I'm going to be talking about whole and half steps or tones and semitones,
which is the actual issue here, where you place those.
So, where do we start?
The starting place is usually pedagogically with the white keys of a piano.
But I mean, major? Start on C.
C to C is main.
We know that.
Yeah.
We know a major scale is C to C.
Whole step, half step, whole step, half step.
Right. And we've gone over that.
It shocks a lot of people, a lot of musicians, a lot of very good musicians, a lot of very educated musicians, that the 5 black keys and 7 white keys to the octave is a fairly recent creation. 1500s, that's not recent, but by musical history standards, that is recent. A lot of great music in the Western tradition using identifiable notation, identifiable theories, has gone under the bridge before keyboards show up.
Right.
The great Gothic cathedrals of Europe were all built without organs in mind. 300 years before organs,
right?
Keyboards, 7 white keys, 5 black keys. So describing it this way is anachronistic.
Yeah. Reverse engineering.
Yeah.
So
but it's the easiest way for us.
Yeah.
And we will try to get into it for your great edification.
We're getting started.
How they actually thought.
We will attempt.
And every piano tuner out there is going to say, well, how do I use this? How is this good for me? I think it's a major issue for setting up a temperament where all these things will work equally well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so not only do you have equal temperament in the, it's the concept of basically being able to change keys fluidly without any wolf tones or challenges. You can change keys, change modes, change, everything.
Change moods.
Change moods. Or not, because it's all equal temperament. No, I'm kidding. So...
It does kind of white bread the system.
It does. It's white bread, yeah. So anyway, major. We talked about major, and everyone has heard of, minor scale. Minor scale starts on the 6th scale degree, and it goes whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. Did I skip one?
I don't think so.
Did I skip a whole step at the end?
It's hard for us to think that way.
I can't do this while we're driving. Oh my god, that's funny.
Well, I don't think that way anyway.
Yeah, we don't think that way. La, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la.
Well, if you think C to C, that's the major key.
And then A to A.
And A to A is the minor key. But there's more than that.
Okay.
You can divide up an octave without changing the locations of the half steps between E and F and B and C, starting on any note.
Right.
C to C, no sharps, no flats. How about D to D, no sharps or flats? E to E, no sharps or flats. F to F, no sharps or flats. G to G, no sharps or flats.
That's my favorite.
A to A, no sharps or flats. And B to B, no sharps or flats.
That's evil.
Nobody likes that one.
So we're going to tell them what they're called?
They have names.
Yes.
These names are fairly late, given the entire usage of these for church music, even used in the Byzantine Empire and the synagogue, going back to ancient times. There's some concept like this.
Okay.
It's not always easy to tell what the difference is. C to C is major. A to A is minor.
Yep.
Now D to D, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D.
I know, I'm just waiting for him to tell you.
It's called Dorian.
Ah, yay!
Names are taken from Greek columns.
Okay.
Nobody knows why.
Oh, I was going to say why. I don't know.
E to E is called Phrygian.
Phrygian.
F to F is called Lydian.
Lydian.
G to G is called Mixolydian.
Mixolydian. That's my favorite.
And A to A is minor. Now, B to B doesn't have a perfect fifth from 1 to 5, and so it's kind of not considered to be really a mode.
What are the terms that were made up later? Major was Ionian.
Gaforius, a Swiss writer in the 16th century.
He made up terms for major and minor.
He figured they should all have matching names, so he called major Ionian.
Ionian, and what was
and
minor?
Aeolian.
Aeolian, that's it. I forgot. I call it major and minor. Aeolian is minor. Ionian is major. So those are extra names for the same thing.
If anyone wants to argue for you the difference between Ionian mode and major, tell them. Or Aeolian and natural minor. That's the tail wagging the dog. The term becomes more important than the thing.
Other types of minor I'm going to talk about later. Soon, but not yet. So anyway.
All of those modes can be altered with chromatic scale degrees.
Yeah.
It depends on the style of music. Well, you might have already figured that major Ionian is like a 1. It's based on a 1 chord. And Dorian is based on 2. And Phrygian is based on 3. And Lydian on 4. And Mixolydian on 5. And minor on 6. So we could look at the 1 chord for each of these modes and see that 1, 4, and 5, major, Lydian, Mixolydian, are major modes because their ending point is a major chord, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord.
I want to break in here because on our last video I forgot to mention that, and this is a recent development. He just told me this, I didn't know this. Well, I did know that major chords use a capital Roman numeral and minor chords use a lowercase Roman numeral. So a 3 chord, if it's minor, is 3 little i's instead of 3 big i's.
Yeah, that's become a convention in my lifetime.
I didn't know that. I thought I had gone back further.
Yeah,
but
that takes it way back.
It takes it way back. That's just how I learned it. So.
About the time they invented dirt.
Oh. Dirt is dirty. It doesn't taste good. No.
So 2, 3, and 6 are minor modes. So we can compare them, the 3 minors, minor Aeolian being the most common one, Dorian and Phrygian, can compare them. Dorian is like minor but with a raised 6. Phrygian is like minor with a lowered 2nd.
Yes.
And the comparison shows that each of those has 1 note different from minor.
Okay.
And that 1 note that you change is one of the members of the false 5th or diabolus, which meant avoiding that sound caused Dorian and Phrygian to degenerate into being minor.
Okay.
And likewise with the majors,
that explains it.
Lydian has a tritone diabolus from 1 to 4. It doesn't have a viable subdominant.
Okay.
And you don't hear Lydian as much. The chants for the church for Lydian are in times of war or for requiem masses, distressing.
Okay. Well, that kind of explains why we veered towards minor and major. That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I still love Mixolydian.
Mixolydian has a lowered 7th. Lydian has a raised 4th. And each time those are the members of the tritone.
Okay.
And they degenerate into the major. Beethoven recovered from illness when he wrote his Opus 131, and he wanted to use a church mode to demonstrate his thanks to God, his holy thanksgiving, Heilige Danksagung, and he used Lydian mode, but he didn't really have the feel of the modes because of the style that he wrote in was so intensely functional on the major-minor system. And so it sounds like major with a sharp 4, which is what Lydian is, but it still felt like that raised 4th was moving away. It didn't feel like it was actually part of the scale.
Okay. He still treated it as a major scale, but okay.
We're talking subtle aesthetic differences there, but there are Nordic and Icelandic folk tunes that use the Lydian mode, and Bartók was fond of it because it had the dissonance of a Hungarian folk dance, folk instruments.
I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. I was going to say something. Don't you hate that? Anyway.
That's because you're so excited about what I was talking about.
I'm so thrilled. I'm just so excited. I can't contain myself. Our listeners are just waiting with bated breath. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes.
In the Gregorian tradition, the major and minor are actually rarely used, which is an interesting invert of what happened in art music. And Dorian was called mode 1. Phrygian was called mode 3.
Oh yeah, why? I forgot.
Well, there's two mode 1s. There's the mode 1 that ends on Re, and there's the one that doesn't. It's called the plagal mode. I don't think we want to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to do that. No. Okay.
And then Lydian,
I distracted him.
Yeah. Lydian, mode 4 is...
Start over again.
Dorian is mode 1. Phrygian is mode 3.
There we go.
Lydian is mode 5.
Yes.
And Mixolydian is mode 7.
Yes. You don't want us to go into why.
You don't need that. That's only if you're really interested in the history of it.
Yeah.
Quick way to learn it is using the white keys. C to C is major, D to D is Dorian, E to E is Phrygian, F to F is Lydian, and G to G is Mixolydian.
So let's do this. Let's start on C. He might hate me for this while we're driving. Let's start on C and make a Dorian scale. Okay, so we'd have C, D, E flat. Okay. Wait, let's make a minor scale first. C, D, E flat, same thing.
Before you do that, you should probably look at the white key Dorian. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, all natural.
We'll do that.
So D to E is a whole step.
We'll do Dorian.
D to E is a whole step.
Yeah.
1, 2. E to F is a half step. F to G is a whole step. G to A is a whole step. A to B natural is a whole step.
Yes. B to C
is a half step. And then C to D, where you end up, is a whole step
at the end.
So they're displaced with respect to minor. Now, if we start on a different note, which a medieval artist would never have done, if you say to Guillaume de Machaut or somebody in the Middle Ages, you can say, we're doing D, he doesn't really think that you're doing that number of cycles per second, whatever that would be.
It would be the mode, because they didn't have a standard pitch.
Right.
Okay. That's interesting.
It would mean Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, Re. That's what it would mean. It would mean, that's what D means.
Okay.
So we think. We don't know what was in their heads, but so we think that D meant that configuration. It didn't refer to an actual pitch location.
Okay.
When you say E, it meant that you went up a half step for the second scale degree, and then a whole step, and then a whole step, and then a whole step, and then a half step, and then 2 whole steps.
Okay.
If you said F, that meant 1, 2, 3, 4 formed a tritone. If you said G, that meant you had a lowered 7.
Okay.
Or B molem, soft B.
We think, the way people think about music has evolved so much.
It's very different.
Yeah.
To try to get into the medieval mind and see that is fairly difficult. But it's somewhat useful to, it's like learning a foreign language or learning Old English or something. It helps you to understand the spirit of the times and how certain musics came to be what they are. You'll see these same things applied in folk music, even modern folk music. Scottish, Irish folk tunes, Canadian Prince Edward Island dances. You'll see the same kind of thinking applied in fiddle tunes and accordion tunes and clawhammer banjo tunes. banjo players will retune their open strings to get the effect of a particular mode.
Right.
They don't know that.
That's an inside joke. Yeah. So when there's no standard pitch, people are going to think differently about everything. So now not only do we have standard pitch, we have equal temperament. So modes no longer mean well, they still mean the relationship with whole and half steps. They still mean that, but
it's all it really ever meant was a relationship. But with modern thinking of standardized pitches, we could transpose a mode, which is what she was starting to do a moment ago.
Right.
Instead of starting on C,
right,
and then having D be Dorian, we can make C Dorian, which means that B flat is Do.
Yeah.
So the key of B flat, 2 flats.
Yes.
We go C,
like
D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, D.
Yeah.
Or C. We stop on C. C,
or C.
D,
Thinking
D,
Dorian, right?
Yeah. C, D, E flat,
we should
F,
do this again.
G, A, B flat, C.
Okay. There we go.
I'm not doing it again.
How about minor? Let's just do minor.
Yeah, we can transpose minor around. Instead of being A to A, all white keys.
Put A on C.
We can start on C.
So if C is La.
C is La.
That means our Do is A flat. No.
It's E flat. 3 flats. If C is La, E flat is Do.
Sorry. Thank
so
you.
We go C,
I went the wrong direction.
C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C.
Thank you. Yes, that's right. Okay, so that would be C minor.
Right.
Yeah. So I need to make a video about
What's the
different minor
difference between the C Dorian we just did and the C minor? 1 flat. There's always going to be one accidental in the circle of fifths order different between any one of the modes and major or minor.
Okay. What were you going to do? You said something maybe about the circle of fifths earlier.
Well, that leads us to a functional concept of this.
Okay.
That might be of more use. It certainly is of use to a jazz musician. I'm sure Miles Davis would be totally conversant with what I'm about to tell you.
Okay. I don't know what he's going to say.
In your 6 positions on the circle of fifth, and we're going to start with C. We're going to start with C because everybody does, because it's the easiest.
Yeah.
C at the top, and then F to the left in the subdominant realm, and G to the right in the dominant realm. Then below the tonic C is A minor. To the left of that and below the F is a D minor, which is relative to F. And to the right, G, and down below is E minor. So we have D-A-E in lowercase below FCG, and those 6 spots on the circle of fifth are the 6 diatonic chords of the scale. 1, 4, 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor.
Yes.
But they're also the tonic chords of the 6 modes.
Yes.
Those were excluding the T to T mode, the 7th scale degree.
Yeah, I was going to say 7th scale degree. Yeah.
You can sightseeing anything with Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, and wherever the half step you call it Mi, Fa, and just switch your syllables around. That's how that was done from the 800s until the 1900s. And it's a French conservatory system of adding the 7th scale degree T, and it made so much sense in the modern major-minor system that it was instantly adopted everywhere.
Yeah.
T is new.
And then for shape note singing, they did fa sol la, mi fa. There were 4 syllables. There's 2 systems for that. There's the do re mi fa sol la Ti, do, or La, Si, do, and then Fa, Sol, La, Mi, Fa. Mi is the T. So,
and it works. It works.
Yeah.
It works beautifully for diatonic music.
Yes.
And it's what Guido originally had in mind was locating the half step.
So if I were using syllables like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, that would be Dorian. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi. That's actually really hard. Mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, there's your minor, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, that's minor. So I can use those syllables to sing the right whole and half steps, because I learned how to do that. But that is this our stop? Oh, yeah. It's coming up soon. Let's finish. The next gas station is our stop. So, is there anything we need to cover before we hang it up?
You can see a functional relationship between the one chords and the modes, and that is of extreme use to a jazz musician improvising. Say your chart calls for a 5 chord, so you think Mixolydian, and then you play a Mixolydian tune and you comp and make something up using that. Then your chart says a 2 chord, so you think Dorian mode and you improvise something in Dorian mode.
That's kind of cool.
Right, and that's it makes for beautiful instant composition ideas.
I have to play around with that.
Right, each one of the modes has its own
jazz player.
Mood.
The mood.
Right.
Yep, different mood. Can you imagine what would happen if you played modes outside of equal temperament? It would.
Oh yeah.
That would be weird.
You would enhance the mood. Right.
Yeah.
If
it would just be like changing keys, except you'd actually be in a mode, and so that would be even weirder. I assume that's what happens.
Right, it is. And your raised 6 of Dorian would be very raised.
Okay.
And it would lead to like a leading tone to the 7th.
Okay.
Which makes
that's neat.
emphasis on the minor 7th between D and C in the white key modes, between the 1 and the 7, which is a minor 7th, and that becomes sort of a Dorian sound.
So that throws another complexity. When we talk about non-equal temperaments, not only can you shift keys and change the mood, you can stay in a key but change the mode and still get a shift, if that makes sense.
Right, Baroque
Double change of mood.
Baroque composers gave up that artistic expression very reluctantly. Bach's well-tempered clavier was part of a movement to accept a tempered keyboard, and Rameau himself did not care for that. He felt the sacrifice of those moods was far too much.
Yeah. I like having both. I like that we can tune a piano to, equal temperament or something else, because then we can tune it for the music that's going to be played on it, which is kind of cool. So we are going to change drivers. I'm going to sign off, and
we're going to change modes.
We're going to change modes. Oh, are we equally tempered though?
We're going to keep the same speed limit.
We're going to keep the same speed limit the whole time. I'm not going to speed. We're going to be equally tempered. We're not going to... I don't know, I think you get more angry at aggressive drivers than I do. Are we equally tempered?
I get more angry at the angry drivers.
He gets more angry at the angry drivers. And so we're not equally tempered, I guess. But all right. Anywho, this has been fun. For us, anyway. Probably not for you, but that's
Probably
okay.
Not,
Yeah.
If you're still with us, sorry.
I will make videos soon. Bye.